Hey guys, it's your girl Abby and I'm back with another video. Okay, my hair is looking cray, but we're just gonna ignore that. Is it just me or does anyone like when their hair looks messy? Like, I like the messy disheveled look. I feel like it matches my spirit. Just natural and wild and free. Anyways, today I wanted to get on here and talk about something that I have been thinking about for a very long time. And so I'm going to share this with you guys. Maybe you can relate, maybe you can't, but let's just talk about it. Okay, I want to talk about the difference between tools and medicine. And now you're probably watching this and it's like, okay, tools for what? Medicine for what? The tools that we use for healing versus the medicine that we use for healing. And so really where this stemmed from, the other day, bit of a story time, I went to one of my friends' house. We were all just kind of chilling, hadn't seen them in a really long time, and we ended up just sitting on the floor doing stretches, right? I don't know why. These are just the kind of things that we do sometimes. And so they were showing me some of the stretches that they learned and some of their favorite stretches, and I was showing them some of the stretches that I learned through yoga. And so I also mentioned to them that when I was in Costa Rica, I did the Wim Hof breathing exercise, and one of my friends has been doing Wim Hof and these kind of practices for many years. And so I was like, hey, I did it and it was cool and it was good. And then we kind of started getting into this discussion of breath work. And my friend was telling me that there's nothing like that first high. There's nothing like that first time you do that Wim Hof breath work and you get that spiritual high, right? Almost as if you're in a cloud or something. I was like, yeah, I could relate to that because I remember the first time I meditated, right? I was curious, okay, what is this meditation thing? Let me try it. And I remember doing it and I was like, oh, this is so cool, right? And so then I asked my friend, I was like, so do you feel like you're kind of like chasing this high? And he's like, yeah, sort of in a way. Sometimes you'll get it, sometimes you won't, but it will never be like that first high. And so it got me thinking about medicine versus tools, right? I think yoga and meditation and journaling and all these amazing things that I also do myself are amazing medicines. But when it comes to really healing, really moving past our hurts and some may say traumas, we really need tools. And what are the tools that we can use for healing? When I think of medicine, I think of something, a substance or something that we use when we are ill, something that we use when we are out of balance. And so yoga is amazing to release the tension and stress from our body, right? We can stretch and release that tension that we have. Breath work is a way to calm our anxiety, to be more so in the present moment, right? It brings us back to center. When our mind is chaotic and our mind is racing, it gives us a second to be still, to see what we're thinking about and just sit in that, right? It brings us back to equilibrium, right? And so these practices, whether it be breath work, whether it be yoga, stretches, whatever it is that you find brings you peace, these are amazing medicines. But I want to talk about real healing. I want to talk about what actually transforms our heart, what actually transforms our lives, and what actually makes a difference in the way that we relate with people, the way that we experience life, right? Because the medicine brings us back to an equilibrium, but it doesn't solve our problems. I might be dealing with anxiety or depression, and I can use my medicine to bring me back to a state of equilibrium where I can then reach out for something that's going to heal me, right? But the medicine itself does not heal us. And so I got to thinking, if the medicine doesn't heal us, what do we need to heal us? And so I thought about tools. We need tools. And when I think of tools, I think of a hammer. A hammer is a tool that I use to nail something in the wall. I have a picture frame that needs to be hung on the wall, and so I take my tool, which is the hammer, and I know that this tool is going to get the job done. I know that this tool has a purpose. for nailing something in the wall. And so I take my tool and I start hammering on the wall. And then I hang my picture frame and the job is done, right? And so our tools are what gets the job done. And so I said, Abby, okay, what are tools? What are these tools? And I sat there and I thought for a second and I reflected on my life and I said, what have been the tools that I have used? And I think the greatest tool that anyone can have is a relationship with someone or something bigger than them. Some people call it the creator. Some people call it the universe. Some people call it God. Some people call it source. Whatever you call it, having a relationship with something that's bigger than you is the greatest tool that you can have, because it gives us perspective that is bigger than us. I love the analogy of God's view is the bird's eye view, because I can see here and I can see here, but I can't see everything that's going on. And so when I have a relationship with someone that's bigger than me, when I have a relationship with someone that is higher than me, I can then lean on their understanding. I can then lean on their perspective because I know it's wider than my own. How do we have a relationship with God, creator, universe, source, something that is bigger than us? How do I have this relationship? For me, it's through prayer. The greatest thing that you can do is simply communicate, is simply talk. And it's so funny how it's like the relationship we can cultivate with God is very similar to the relationships that we cultivate within people in our lives, right? Our friends, romantic relationships, platonic relationships. How do we establish a long-lasting, truly intimate relationship? Through communication, through honest, authentic communication. When you're dating someone, when you're getting to know someone, you're talking to them constantly. What establishes that closeness is the communication. What establishes true closeness and connection is authentic communication, where I can be me fully and you can be you fully and we accept it, right? And so it's the same thing with God. But in addition to that, you don't even have to worry about your acceptance with God because he created you and so he already accepts you, right? Sometimes with the relationship, we're like, I don't know if I want to open up because you might think I'm cuckoo and you might, you know what I'm saying, might not like what you get. But with God, he created us. He knows everything about us. And so there's nothing that's going to turn him off. There's nothing that's going to be like, you know what? You're doing a bit much. Don't really, no. Just go back and turn your prayer somewhere else. No. He sees everything. He knows everything. He knows you're weird. He knows you're a little twisted. And so prayer, simply talking and communicating with God is probably the greatest thing that you can do. And a lot of times people will say, well, I did pray and I did do this and I did this. Let me tell you, God is not an answering machine, okay? He doesn't work a 9 to 5 where he's going to return your call in 3 business days. It takes time and it takes a surrendering spirit to just be like, okay, give it to God and he's going to come back to me when he comes back to me. Trust. The other tools that we can use in our life is our community. God works through people. God works through the Starbucks barista that gave you a friendly smile. God works through the random person you saw crossing the street that gave you a compliment. God works through your friends that you decide to open up to, that you say, hey, you know what? This is what I'm going through and this is what I've been feeling. And your friend says that one thing that just shifts your perspective, that just wakes you up to something, because everybody placed in your life is placed there for a reason. And so why would God not use the people around you? A lot of times we're fearful to open up. A lot of times we're fearful to show our true selves to the people around us. But as much as vulnerability is a struggle, as hard as vulnerability is such a beautiful thing when done correctly, such a beautiful thing when it's done and respected in the way that it's supposed to be. Right? In that when I show you who I am and I show you my wounds and scars, you don't judge them, but you care for them. And those are what your friends are for. Those are what the trusted people in your life are for. And so those are our tools. The people around us, the people that love us, the people that we love, those are our tools to use. For anyone that's kind of going through something, kind of start to differentiate your medicine versus your tools. Kind of start to see what has been giving you a sense of ease, what has been bringing you to a point where you can relax And when you get there, understand that that is the moment, that is the time where you got to go to your backyard and start looking for the tools. Where's the hammer? Where's the shovel? These are the things that are going to get the job done. Where can I find them? In my community, in my friends, in my family, in my connection and relationship to God. Let me go and seek those out. And it isn't overnight. A lot of us think that it's overnight. It's not overnight. It's a slow process and there's no rush. That's what I wanted to share. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts and ideas are. Like, what are some of the medicines that you've been using? What have you found to be life-changing, perspective-shifting tools that you've used in your life? I'm curious to know. I honestly want to know, and I want to connect with you guys. So let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, peace and love. I'll see you guys later. Bye.